Hi, my name's Jess Shatkin. I'm a physician. I work at NYU, and I'm here tonight speaking at the Glenn Bard Parent Series. And it's been a great night speaking to folks about helping young children thrive. And we're talking about how we help develop kids' brains and bodies in a way that's going to be resilience enhancing for them. And I think this is an important concept to think about. We're all going to hit bumps in the road. We're all going to have inevitable struggles that we don't know what to do about. And the more prepared we are for them, the better. So I want you to maybe look at one of the other tapes I made tonight and think about authoritative parenting. I talk about that. That's a very useful strategy, and I describe it in that tape. And I want you to think about the triumvirate of good health for your kids: exercise, nutrition, and sleep, because those matter so much, and those three things are preventative for so many of the risks and problems we face. And those two together, boy, they'll take you a long way. And another thing I want to talk to you about that's so important is screen time. Screens have taken us all by surprise. And it has changed our world. And it's fascinating, and they do so much. And we have a supercomputer in our pocket that could send people to the moon and back, maybe to Mars. At the same time, it's overwhelming, and we're just not prepared for it, hardly as adults, let alone children. So we've really got to do more to manage screen time. Our most recent studies suggest that kids are on media about 8 hours a day. And that's an awful lot of time. Now, some of that's school-driven, I know, because they give us iPads and laptops to work on. But beyond that, at home, we're spending a lot of our time with these devices. And the way to combat that, I think, most effectively is for us to do better as parents. So that this is, I like to joke, this is why God created the fruit bowl. So that when you come home, you put your device in the fruit bowl. It charges, you have dinner without the device, and you only go back to the device periodically as needed. I'm a doctor, I gotta check once in a while to make sure I don't get text. But other than that, I'm trying not to spend time on my phone at night. I'm trying to spend time with my kids and my wife and my dog and all those kind of things that also round me out as a person and make me more resilient. And that's what I think we need to do for our kids. So knowing what they're engaging with on screens is hugely important. Postponing the phone as long as possible. There's an organization called Wait Until 8th, which suggests to wait until 8th grade. And I can't think of a reason in the world why an 8th grader needs a phone. I can't think of a reason why a 10th or 11th or 12th grader needs a phone, quite frankly. They have them, we all have them. We've been bamboozled by Steve Jobs and everybody else because we think if everybody else has it, our kids have to have it. We don't want them to be left out. I remember when I was in 7th grade, I used to play basketball before school. And I came to school one day and everybody on the basketball court was talking about this guy from another planet who arrived in an egg. And it was Mork and Mindy, the Robin Williams show. And you can make sure, I was damn sure that week when I went home, I watched Mork and Mindy so I could have the conversation the next week on the basketball court. I understand that's what this is about, peer influence. Yet we've got to do better in terms of helping our kids to manage this. Take a look at the app on Screen Time or the program and the utilities under the iPhone, if that's what your child uses. It'll tell you how much time they're spending on screens. It'll tell you how much time you're spending on screens. That's an important thing to think about. We're missing out on a lot there. The world is safer than it's ever been, really, for our children. I know that sounds crazy given all that's happening, but we don't have the kidnappings and abductions we used to have in the 70s when I was a kid. All these kinds of things have changed. Our kids don't have to have the phones. You own the phone. It is your phone. You can call it their phone. You give it to them as something that they can hold on to and use, and you can call it that, but you own the phone. It is a privilege to have a phone. It is not a need. It's not oxygen. It's not water. It's not food. I give some very clear screen rules in my book, Born to be Wild. I hope you take a look at that because it speaks very clearly about how we can help to manage kids' screen time. Another thing that's worthwhile engaging in with your kids is the practice of being in the moment. You know, recently I heard a poet speak and he said, when I have one foot in the past and one foot in the future, I'm peeing on the present. And I think that that's one of the concerns that we have. We're so engaged in what did I do wrong? Whose feelings did I hurt? Did I turn the stove off or lock the door? Or what if in the future? What if I don't do well? What if I don't get into law school? What if I don't get this report done on time? What if I don't get an A? Whatever it is. And the past and the future is where all of our anxiety and stress lies. When we're in the moment, when we're totally and truly in the moment, we may not be euphoric, but we're our happiest. We really are functioning presently. And schools have done all sorts of experiments where they've taught kids how to breathe and how to slow down just for 15, 20 minutes a day. And we can see changes in the brain after a few months, and we see changes in grades, we see changes in tardies, we see changes in sick days, we see changes in suspensions and expulsions from school, we see changes in fights, all for the better. So I want to encourage you to try and engage in some of this with your kids. And it doesn't have to always be sitting and breathing. It can be thinking or focusing on really anything, but being with them. being with them and practicing some of this together. Sometimes that's a movie. A movie can be a mindful activity, and so can lying in bed after a story and just doing some relaxing breathing together, or talking about the stars, or hanging out and thinking about some good family times. These kind of moments are gold, and I wish you the very best.